All right, this is gonna be our first recording. I'm just gonna go ahead and start the game here, and then just start talking after that. But this is the competitive Flesh and Blood League, and we're just trying to get like our recordings situated. I have with me, so I'm Tyler Horspool, and then I have with me Brandon Abarca.
Hello, hello.
I have Xander Villa. No, I'm not gonna try Xander V.
That's me.
And I have Crystal for some color commentary because she's going to be a pro at it. That was a great hello. But we're just going to be watching. This is game one of our match this week. It was interesting because the format was different. There was they revealed the heroes ahead of time so that you could just tech your deck against them. So this Dash player had all the tech against me, and I wasn't quite prepared, and you'll see that throughout the match. But
This is only the case for this week, though.
yeah, that's only this week. That's true. That's true. But going into the match, I thought like I need to be aggressive. I can't let him get items down, and so yeah, that was pretty much my thought process. So I was trying to make the deck as aggro as possible. So I stole a deck list, and you can see me try to adjust the camera here so that you can see the cards a little better. But I tried to just play the most aggressive red line version that I could play. So I think I took a list that finished second in Taiwanese nationals, and then I took out the Art of Wars and I replaced them with yellow pummels so that I could just have something else. And then all the cards you see over there are just defense reactions and things like that. I don't know if it was right or wrong, but
we can't see the recording since we moved channels.
Let's restream that then. Share your screen.
There we go.
All right, let's see if that works.
Yes, sir.
I'm just gonna keep all that in because try to keep it easy.
The authenticity, the realism.
Yeah, we're not doing any editing here. So I'm.
So what is this? Turn 1 plasma purifier?
Yeah, that's a turn 1 plasma purifier, or turn 0. You know, we call it turn 0 in the biz, but
Yeah,
I haven't got to go yet.
I wasn't sure how deep into the recording you were before.
This is turn 10, and we haven't done anything yet. We just kept
Turn
passing.
0 purifier with an arsenal setup. That's pretty good if you're a Dash player.
Yeah. I think I was trying to like get my head situated because the game like started so abruptly. I think next week when we like actually, you know, we have a game under our belt and we can start. You know, we don't know what the other champion is. I'll be a little more in my element because you've already seen me like try to pull cards like 5 times before actually dropping them. But I think I'm just trying to fix my hand here, and if I could go back, I would have Spinal Crush to try to force him to.
Oh, you would have just pitched the pummel and the spinal for spinal?
Yeah, I don't think it's that important to have an arsenal card going back, but I had no idea. This is my first time playing Oldhim.
Yeah, I think playing around having an arsenal is pretty important with Oldhim to make full use out of Crown of Seeds, but at least in general, that's probably how you want to.
Yeah, I think in general you want to play that, but when you're trying to go aggressive like I am, I think you just need to be doing like full power attacks every time, and then trying to set up a dominated or pummeled attack.
Yeah, especially against this deck that's trying to set up. You want to try to beat them up as hard as you can before they set up, which is obviously not happening since you got turn 0 purifier into turn 2 purifier. That's pretty bad news bears for you.
Yeah, I was already doing this screaming with rage. I'm like, this game's not going to plan. I'm dying. I don't know if Xander can say anything because he's our guardian player, but I would assume this is game over already, no matter what I do.
I was gonna say that first turn I would have kept the spinal in arsenal and the pummel in hand, so I thought that's what you were going to do. Obviously,
So
it looks like it would have worked out, seeing that you drew 3 blues, but or 4 blues, but had it gone the way you said in a red line deck, that probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So I suppose that so far I agree with what you've done. And it's very unfortunate that he's played just 2 purifiers turns 1 and 2. That's kind of already a game over in this matchup.
Yeah, because the purifiers are the game winners, not really the induction chambers. Like they're nice, but the purifiers are kind of what invalidate the whole shield strategy, or not invalidate, but mitigate its effectiveness.
Yeah. Well, I guess since this is game over, we could just go to the next recording. We don't have to watch the rest of it. I pummeled the weapon, and then I'm like, this is a hammer, right? So.
Oh, so you got some armor out there. You got the Teklo into. Oh, but you got the Fate first scene.
Well, he tried to, and then I tried to get him to stop right away. I was like, stop looking. But
because you dominated this with Terra Sunder, and he tried to Fate Proceed from Sand. I see.
Yeah, it was all good. We're playing casual here. I'm not gonna go after someone super.
For sure, that's how I think we all treated our games overall. Is kind of like a tier 1 level event. Like an armory or something. Nothing too crazy sweaty. Like want to win, but also not trying to break each other's backs over anything.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate this wasn't your first hand, because this would have gotten a purifier out of his hand and made the game doable.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking maybe I should have just gone with the Spinal Crash to not have this happen to me. But I think regardless, this was happening to me at some point. If I'm.
But he went first, right? So he got the purifier out before you had any chance to even interact with him. So it's not much you could do about that. And the other purifier he got out through Spark of Genius. So again, not really much that he could have done other than possibly make him block with the Spark of Genius. But yeah, he just had a really good opening first 2 turns.
Yeah, I think that's classic Dash. Dash, you always talk about Rhinar as the high roll deck, but Dash is sort of a high roll deck too, with the boosting and the item, whether the items there are there or not. That's all.
Yeah, it's weird because Dash is like you said, people talk about Rhinar as the high roll deck, and Dash is like a consistency deck because all you really need is just blues to pitch and do your thing over and over again. So therefore it's uber consistent. But to get to the point where that's an effective strategy, you need to get a couple items established, and getting the items established itself is kind of high rolly. At least doing it early enough to where it's gonna be impactful, because I know I've played Dash a little bit, and if you don't see your items till super late, your pistol for 2 is very pathetic for most of the game if you don't have a purifier behind it.
Yeah, can you imagine if I'm dominating this Glacial Footsteps and he doesn't have 2 purifiers? It's like, oh yeah, you can attack me back for 4, I guess. But now it's for a decent amount more. But that being said, I'm still in the aggro mode here. I gotta get him, and so you see me take some hits that maybe I should have been more in blocking mode. You can see.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't really seen anybody try to play a red line or more aggressive Oldhim strategy. Personally, I haven't watched any gameplay like that. So
there's probably
I've always been curious. Yeah,
the reason for it is
if you could do it.
Yeah, the reason for it is Bravo just does it better, right? He has the inherent dominate, whereas this is Oldhim has defensive stuff going on. So
yeah, that's why it's weird, because if you tried to do it, you'd almost have to do it in an Earth way. I don't know. I don't even know that you can do it with an ice based strategy, because ice is so reliant on, or it feels like it's reliant on doing these frostbite, trying to set up for fuse attacks to hit them with frostbites, or using what's the card, Polar Blast, to give your cards dominate so you can come in with big attacks.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in an Earth-based strategy with cards like Channel Mount Heroic, Earthlore Surge, you're just going for giant numbers, and the dominate's not even really a concern. It's just you're going so tall that you're forcing something out of them.
Yeah, I got very unlucky here. When I arsenaled a channel, the ice one, and
kind of like Frigid.
Yeah, and then I did not to draw an ice card to like keep it out for a turn, and then not only that, like my hand is super awkward because the glacial footsteps doesn't get dominate. The if I play rouse the ancients, I have to pitch a blue, so I can't like turn it on. So it was not the best.
I will be right back.
I'm
When
surprised.
when I was talking to Brandon about this before, Dash is just such a rough matchup for Guardian that the only way I can really see Guardian winning it is by either the Dash low rolling so that they don't draw their items, or when they do, you find a way to get rid of them, either crippling, crush, tear asunder, righteous cleansing, some way to get those items out of their hand when it's out of their control.
Mm-hmm.
And because if they don't have those purifiers, the game is over. The 3 induction chambers won't do anything against the shield.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a high roll, I think, for Guardian to win against Dash, at least this version. But uh, you probably don't have any of the cards I said other than Terra Sunder, and that one's not. They can still not discard those items.
Yeah. That's why I think maybe Dash is even like better into Oldhim, maybe.
Correct, because the idea behind Oldhim being very strong is the fact that he can just outlast almost all the heroes, but Dash is the one that can just swing with nothing but weapons and use items, and they only ever use mana. If they go into the long game, they don't need to play any cards.
Yeah.
So and then if you try to go tall into them, they just have a defense reaction that's been sitting in Arsenal for who knows how long. So like the only thing that can get through them is like a CNC with a pummel, and even then, if you give them any time at all, they'll use their health as a resource so that they can play their items, and then the ball's in their court.
I think that like I mean it sucks that he even came prepared for what I was rolling with, right? Like so maybe you could like oh, it's Oldhim, he's going to be super defensive. Maybe the Dash players like, you know, oh, I'm going to put in like more attacks to get around that, but he came prepared for like my attacks and came in with like 6 unmovables, so he used one there. And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, this guy did his homework and I did not do my homework."
Yeah.
He probably, I'd imagine, he's just going like what you would do against Bravo, I guess. Just assuming it would be in a similar vein, have defense reactions to stop big dominated attacks like an Oak and Old or Glacial or something like that. That's what the immovables are for, and then defense reaction, the little defense reactions, I guess, to stop Titan's Fit or and the Winter's Wail and.
Oh yeah, welcome back, Brendan. I was like, "You're not Xander."
Oh yeah.
He was playing a super defensive shell, so I'm not sure that there was anything that I could do.
Yeah, I think the defensive shell is like the safer way to play it in general. Like we were talking about earlier, the offensive dash is definitely much high rollier. Like you can prevent the high roll nature, I guess, by just playing all mechanologist cards and never even giving yourself a chance to whiff at boosting. But for the most part, it feels like you're probably just by the nature of boosting, you're seeing a less consistent version of dash than you would by playing this defensive version where you're pretty much only, like Xander said, just pitching mana every turn.
This is unfortunate ordering you did here.
Yeah.
If
I realized it. I certainly did, and I even told them I was like, "This is not coming in for frostbite," but I'm actually not. Yeah, if I just pitch the tome, obviously for the channel, and then the pulse for the thing, the Winter's Wail, we would have been in a little bit, just that little bit of advantage. But now he feels like he can just take it, and which is probably true anyway. It's not like one frostbite token was making or breaking me when he's at 30 and I'm at 17, and he's got the double purifier.
And the Frostbite tokens in general just don't seem very effective in this matchup in the same way that like Ice Lexi struggles with Bravo or Oldhim because they play so many blue cards that like even if they shock Charmers 3 times and make three Frostbites, it's just you have so much excess mana usually every turn to be able to pay for it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And Dash is kind of in a similar situation with this type of deck where they're playing so many blues to just keep loading up all their equipment or items that usually Frostbites aren't going to hinder them too much.
The good news is that like he had to pitch his whole hand to like not do much, so
Yeah.
because of the Channel Lake Frigid here.
Yeah, Frigid on the other hand, that card is actually super good against Dash. I think just making everything they do cost 1 extra. Like in general, that card is just insane.
What do you guys think is probably the best card to come out of Tales of Aria that isn't an equipment, just like a regular card? Because I think Channel Lake Frigid is up there for sure.
It is 100% up there, yeah.
Yeah, even though it doesn't see like play in like, oh, it's not in Briar or something like that, I think that this card maybe alone is like pulling these decks up.
I would say that it's Ball Lightning. Usually the best card that come out of anything is going to be a 0 cost. Any card that's worth banning is going to be a 0 cost. It's dangerous to make free cards. And I think Ball Lightning generates a lot of value, and we see it in the strongest deck right now, just abusing elemental attacks and lightning attacks, threatening all this extra damage, forcing blocks.
Yeah, especially in those scenarios that you see where a Briar player sets up, the Sting of Sorcery turn into multiple Ball Lightnings, and then you really see how crazy Ball Lightning can be. I would biasly vote for Channel Mount Heroic though.
Yeah, you would. Also, I got I don't know if you saw that, Xander, but I learned that play from you. The old
CNC
pummel, the CNC, but that was an Ice Quake into a CNC into a pummel. It's the next step.
Yeah, Ice Quake is awesome.
CNC Pummel's probably the strongest play that Bravo has to offer.
Which means Oldhim's just better by comparison because you can Ice Quake into CNC into pummel. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think we can judge it by just the one play though, given how it goes.
Oh, look at this! A nice, perfectly sculpted. Oh no, never mind. It doesn't work out. Barnacles. Endless Winter being not an ice card itself makes it to where you can't do a fused Oakenold here, but could set up for a fused Oakenold.
I actually like just going for the Endless Winter, but I think in the like obviously Oakenold is just like bonkers, but what's actually going to end up coming back to bite me later is that all those Spinal Crushes from before, I end up running out of them, so I can't find one when I go to Awakening for a Spinal Crush, unfortunately.
Oh.
Oh yes, I think I remember seeing you go for an Awakening later on.
Yeah, that turn 2 Awakening would have been really good had he attacked you at all.
Just to give you guys a hint at how long this game's gonna go. I am playing Oldhim, so even when I'm losing, it's like, there's still a lot I can do to try to mitigate that. At some point, I was thinking like maybe I can fatigue him. That's my way back into it. Because even though you're like losing, you should always look for like a way, in my opinion, to try to get back into the game.
Yeah, fatigue unfortunately is just not going to work against Dash,
especially when you're trying to transition into it, or like if you attempt to transition into it. It's like what you said a couple months ago after Vegas. If you change your approach mid game, usually it ends up not panning out for you the best.
Well, actually, I thought like maybe an avenue to victory for me was attack, make him block with all these cards, right? And then he like he might boost a couple attacks at me, and he doesn't have his items down right away. Obviously the problem with that strategy being if this happens, and that did not happen. But at some point, I think I have him down to like 20 cards or something like that, and I have like 30 something. So the problem is he can obviously just keep pitching to weapon, and If I can't attack, then that's a problem. I was
I
super.
think when Xander and I tested this matchup, but with Bravo instead of Oldhim, he, he was saying that the fatigue strategy didn't just couldn't overcome the eventual chip damage of multiple purifiers and induction chambers, but uh, which I think is probably correct. But Oldhim could maybe have a slightly better chance of it with card like Crown of Seeds. It like because it's kind of crazy how much damage Crown of Seeds can block over the course of a game if you're playing around it consistently. It's kind of like the way our other teammate Will plays with his Dorinthia deck. The amount of times he blocks with Valiant Dynamo in one game, all of a sudden that card is essentially worth like 8+ health over the course of a long game, which is kind of crazy for one piece of equipment to be worth that much additional health. You got a carrion husk on your feet basically that doesn't end up killing you in the long run. And Crown of Seeds can kind of operate the same way if you play around it in that way.
Yeah, Crown of Seeds is. I think it's pretty good at doing that. Obviously, Valiant Dynamo a little better because it's free, but
True.
Crown of Seeds has the other mode, which is basically like get rid of this arsenal card to try to like draw
Yeah, it's
better attacking.
filtering.
Yeah, Valiant Dynamo can't do that. Take that, Valiant Dynamo.
And Valiant Dynamo, you have to be able to consistently get out 2 attacks to keep removing that counter, whereas Crown of Seeds, there's the only stipulation is having that card in your arsenal, which if you're playing the traditional Bravo way is just block with everything, swing hammer, arsenal, and just do that rinse and repeat until you or your opponent feel like you want to end it all.
Yeah. I've had a good couple turns here where he couldn't do anything, but then when he blocks the winter as well for just 3 and doesn't even use the equipment, takes the frostbite, I'm like, oh, he must have a ton of blues but this belittle minnowism package in the dash deck is super interesting.
Heck yeah, this is sick. I like this a lot. Belittle minnowism is so tight.
What did he end up? Does he have to reveal anything for belittle or no?
Oh, a 1
Yeah,
attack.
he has to reveal a card with a base attack 3 or lower.
Ah, that one. That's the one.
Yeah. So being that he's playing all the blue versions of all of his attacks, he just reveals I think that was a high speed impact, which is the blue one is a under 3 attack.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here's the first of many Spinal Crushes that end up blocking because they don't work well in my hand. And it's unfortunate later on.
Yeah, this belittle minnowism in the same way that I loved it in Ninja for just that tutor a mana or 2 to 3 mana. It's really good for Dash. I like that tech a lot.
It's just free, right? I mean, not completely free, but it's free resources.
Yeah, it's so good. Like in Ninja, I loved it because I was playing Tunic, and when you get to use Tunic mana to belittle from Arsenal and then search out a minnowism and have a 5-card hand with a guaranteed 0 blue, it's beautiful. But similarly in Dash, just getting a 3 chip damage in, basically an extra pistol swing, plus tutoring out mana that's gonna reload up your pistol and your purifiers. It just seems really good. The only downfall being that it's a 2-block card in a deck that's trying to play defensive, but outside of that, it seems like there's not much reason to not play it if you're opting for this strategy as Dash.
No, I don't think so. I was going to say something and then the thought just left my mind.
Seeing your past, I think 2 or 3 hands, this is why I just made the weird transition from Mage Master Boots to Snapdragons, because Tome of Fendels from Arsenal with Mage Master Boots is a very strong play, but having those Snapdragons available for E-Strike to be able to do more than just E-Strike for 7 with your turn is just such a nice option to have when you're trying to swing back momentum, keep the pressure on, do something more than just E-strike for 7 and they know exactly what's in front of them and they don't have to worry about anything else.
You heard it here
Yeah.
first from Bravo Master, Guardian Master himself.
I mean, it's pretty cool too, being like that it'll catch people off guard. They sit across from a Bravo or Oldhim with Snapdragons, and I'm sure they're going to be thrown for a loop.
Granted, the downfall is originally the purpose of time skippers, which I replaced Snapdragons with or whatever, is that it deals with 2 auras and Prism in the Prism matchup, while Snapdragons can only clear Spectral Shields and then attack an aura. But I think it's worth it.
Oh, I have a good question here for you, Tyler. How much you said you edited this deck from a deck that you got off of one of the nationals? Yeah. So what were some of the changes that you made again?
The only thing that I really changed from it was I didn't like the idea of Art of War if you're playing an attack like strategy.
Oh, okay.
As much as I liked Yellow Pummel, at least. So I put in Yellow Pummels instead of that.
Well, did you? So that means you put in Yellow Pummel. Does this list run Exude Confidence?
It does not.
Did you ever consider that card?
I did not.
Because we came across the realization and rewatching our 3 matches that pretty much all 3 of us won off the back of Exude Confidence, and it was pretty funny.
Yes.
Seeing how impactful that card can be in just shutting down your opponent from being able to defense react, or just in that surprise, like, you got to take the gamble. I'm presenting a 4 attack here with 3 cards in hand. How many blues do you think I have? How big do you think I'm going to pump this thing up to?
Yeah, that's always, especially if I think, oh, I'm just going to be attacking this whole game and hopefully not blocking like I am now. That would have been a lot better. But what I was trying to do here was look for a spot to like take a couple hits and then go back all in. But my hands were, I think the last hand was like not great. This hand was not great, so it ended up just continue to be that way.
And Exude is just a good play, especially against a deck like Dash, which is really defensive reaction heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and depending on how big you can pump it up, right? Like even an Icequake before, because Icequake is next attack, correct? Yeah, next attack gains 3. So for 7, they don't really. I can't think of an attack in their deck unless he for some reason was playing maximum velocity against you that could even turn off the Exude Confidence.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bonkers.
And I'll tell you what, if you Exude Confidence and they overblock it and you have Snapdragons right handy, you can Snapdragons and have 3 cards at your disposal afterwards.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Interesting point that Xander brought up in regards to this matchup was the importance of that card at the left of your hand there. If you can see it early and get that to go through, that could be your saving grace right there. An early crush off of a Righteous Cleansing to potentially banish a couple of their items could just straight up win you the game right off the bat, which is kind of funny, the utility that Righteous Cleansing could potentially provide in this matchup.
Yeah, that seems like exactly what the doctor ordered on trying to get rid of these items early.
Yeah, unfortunately, the exclusive right to get rid of items belongs to Reinar at the moment with Arg Smash, but hopefully with Everfest coming up, we'll have other ways to get rid of items.
Do you think
not just
like
just Reinar?
I mean, do you think just like indiscriminate, like I can get rid of items is too strong though?
Yeah, I don't know if I want it to be a generic card per se, but maybe expand it to another class or 2, just so that there are more options than only Brute to counter Dash directly with item removal. I think the other issue is that, like, items aren't exclusive to Dash technically. There are the amulets, I believe, are considered items, and the potions, I think, or are they considered auras?
No, the potions are items as well, I think.
Yeah, so technically every class does have access to items in that way, so maybe a generic item removal wouldn't be too far off from being warranted, considering it could have use in destroying potions, I guess. But
Mm.
I don't know. It'd probably have to be decently costed, because think about Arg Smash. Even though it is an anti-item card, it itself is a random or like a luck-based item removal card. You have to roll a dice and hopefully hit a 6 if you want to remove 3 items.
Yeah.
And I've seen many Rhinar players whiff off the Arg Smash. You know, they roll out a 1, break their gambler's gloves, roll out a 2, and getting rid of 1 item's pretty good, but 1 item is not enough to stop the game. I think in most cases for Dash, getting rid of both these purifiers. On the other hand, though, I feel like you probably are in control if they don't have purifiers. Like I said, if they have the induction chambers, that doesn't do anything against you, because that just enables your shield to be even more powerful. If they're swinging at you for 2/2/2, your shield is just block 1, block 2, block 3, and that's all you need. But against purifiers, 4/4/4 is a lot worse. They start squeaking through damage, ripping cards out of your hand, and make your job of staying alive a lot harder.
Here's where I get cheeky, and I try to ice him because he had 1 card in hand and no resources floating. I didn't want him to reload his stuff, but then he just had Sigil to punish me. I was like, oh man, this is the worst.
Damn, feels bad, man.
Yeah, Sigil's such a great card. Sigil's probably like, I don't know, top 5 cards ever printed.
Yeah, Sigil's pretty nuts.
Gaining 3
I almost got
0.
I almost got punked by Sigil in Blitz at our locals a couple weeks ago. But luckily, Exude Confidence was there to save me.
There it is again.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll say top 10, maybe not top 5, but it's a pretty good card. I think it is a little bit overplayed on some, like when you're trying to do some stuff, because it doesn't block, and when you're playing against like block decks, you know, you'd rather just have something that blocks for 3. Or sorry, on hit decks is what I meant to say.
Sure. Yeah, it feels bad when you're like, Sigil to quote unquote prevent 3 damage, but you're not preventing a hit effect, and then you have to discard another card or something.
I have had funny interactions with Will where I attack him with a Spinal Crush and he blocks with a card and then sigils and says, take 3. And when we know he takes 6, heals 3, and my crush goes through.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a nice hand for Oakenold here. Too bad you're staring down.
Yep.
You're literally staring down the barrel of a gun.
I think I'm counting whether I can like take this and do stuff, because I think this is like kind of the beginning of the end here.
Another key card that you would need for this matchup, I think, which I don't believe I saw you play, and it might not be in the list, is Forge for War.
Yeah.
Forge for War is pretty huge, being that with Crown of especially for Oldhim, being that you have Crown of Seeds, and in this case Mage Master Boots, that's 2 free block every time they reset the pistol. So that in tandem with your shield, which is 1 free block inherently, plus however many mana you spend into it, like they basically can't push through damage on a Forge for War turn. So if you have 3 Forge for Wars in the deck, and you remembrance some back in, that could be one of those cards that is a crux in the fatigue plan.
Definitely. Usually, I think if a dash sees a Forge for War, they're just going to load up their items and pass turn. Not
Yeah,
even
which
bother
is
losing counters on them.
yeah, that's great for you, right? If it's assuming you draw into a playable hand next, then all of a sudden you might be able to steal some tempo there. But um, I mean, like you said, this is your first time playing Oldhim to begin with, let alone Oldhim into Dash, like knowing what you need for the matchup. Just kind of winging it here for the most part, it seems like.
Picking two random. Yeah, it was. Don't judge me too harshly because I do not. I'm very much a player that um, needs to like play the decks like a lot of times in order to like get a good feel for all the matchups. I can't just. I'm not like a naturally gifted like sit down. I'm gonna crush everybody type of player.
Yeah, fair enough.
As my opponent plays, his second induction chamber going towards 3 with 3 plasma purifiers in play.
Yeah, he's almost got all 6 pieces of Exodia in this case.
Yeah, I think if he does that, I have to like flip the board and try to run away or something before he destroys me.
It's funny how resource intensive that becomes, though. Um, to reload 6 pieces of equipment plus your pistol, you pretty much need a full hand every turn to be able to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, well, at this point, he has the health advantage to do so.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
can. All he has to do here is like eat 1 hit, and then he can spend 9 mana to load up and swing 3 times, and then refill the induction chambers again or whatever.
Yeah.
From that point on, threatening 4 times, I believe it is. Oh no, he has 2 induction chambers. 5, even 15 damage is enough to kind of crush Tyler for
I
the rest of
think
the game.
had we gone over this probably together and adequately prepared for this matchup, we probably could have set up a deck for you better suited to deal with Dash, because Xander's pretty familiar with the Guardian into Dash matchup since we started playing. I think Brian was playing Dash basically when we got into the game, so
Yeah, this is
lots of experience against.
This is where all our copious work schedules are working against us.
Yeah,
I will say, I do think there was nothing you could do this game, given he dropped 2 plasma purifiers on the
I
first 2
appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, I think even if maybe with a more teched out deck, it could have been a closer matchup. But yeah, I think that kind of opener on Dash is hard for most decks to deal with, let alone a deck that already struggles against it.
Yeah, because Guardian usually only attacking once per turn makes it kind of easy pickings for Dash. Use 1 defense reaction to mitigate the damage, and then just use all of your attacks and or play another item.
Oh. Xander, how are you playing Dead by Daylight while I'm playing this? Oh wait, we're reviewing this afterwards. I don't know if you can see it in the bottom right there. It's funny.
Yeah, I never closed my application.
I did want to talk about that last turn really quick before this one, where I Crown of Seeds to try to find an ice card, or it was an ice card or a blue, and I ended up drawing a yellow pummel. It was just like the absolute worst.
Do you know the ratios for your deck offhand? Like what you're playing as far as blues, yellows, reds, stuff like that?
I don't. I know that it was a decent amount of red. There was going to be 3 yellow pummels, and there's another yellow card that I'm forgetting because I remember seeing 2 yellow cards in the hand at once. But I don't think there was too many yellows, and then the rest blue. I want to say it was at least half blue. Feels less.
Alternatively, Xander here stockpiled yellows like a madman for his matchup. So the most yellows you will ever see in a Guardian deck.
Yeah, that's where the format gets super interesting because, next time we'll just be playing straight 80 card decks, which I think is what people more want to see anyway. Like, the interesting part about this format, I think, is that if you really want to beat a matchup, this is probably the way to do it, right? Know what your opponent is playing, and then like just figure out what can I do to stop what they're doing, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's cool.
I want to say that's literally how I, and not to drop this, but I'm going to. That's how I won Vegas. Is like I literally was just like, okay, this is what Chain does. How can I stop it knowing that? And so it was like playing this format over and over again. So this is actually great testing. It's just make sure that you're not cannibalizing your deck for the other matchups if you're going to play like a tournament or something.
Right.
Yeah, in a vacuum, when it's just a one-off match like this, like it's kind of a fun thought experiment, I guess. So like, because alternatively, like, your opponent also is in the same predicament where, um, they kind of have to think, what do I need to make any adjustments to counter whatever adjustments I expect my opponent to make now that they know what they're facing. Like, I'm not sure what in specific Dash would add, um, to try to mitigate whatever you do to try to stop them, but it's just that idea of like, if you both know, uh, who's going to compromise their deck, core game plan, I guess you could say, to just completely try to trounce what their opponent is trying to do.
Yeah. Here's where you see my unfortunate. I pitched the Spinal Crush, but I don't have any more Spinal Crushes because I blocked with one earlier and I drew two this turn.
Yeah. And then you
Pitched my
discarded your leader. Yeah.
I was at
'Cause
that point. I was at 3,
Yeah, because I know, leading up to Vegas, the obviously Chain was the deck to beat, and the deck that I ended up taking to Vegas, and knowing that you had made a deck so well positioned to beat Chain, that is what influenced some of my deck building decisions to try to tech in cards to really hedge my matchup against Prism, and just kind of uh, go along the thought line that I think I can handle pretty much anything that isn't Tyler's Prism deck. So I'm gonna make my sideboard anti Tyler's Prism deck. And it ended up paying off for me in that tournament because I played against two Prisms that, it the cards that I had put in to beat Prism just paid dividends, and I think that's where this kind of format shows those kind of deck building strategies off. But you don't get to see those too often in an actual big tournament like that, because, like you said, you have to consider the field. You don't know what you're going to see in those first 3 to 4 rounds of a big tournament like that, like the jungle, as some people call it, where it's just, you're playing against a bunch of clean slates, so you could play against anybody.
Yeah.
And then once you get towards the top, that's when you start seeing, the matchups start to get more condensed into what you expected to see. All the chains, all the briars, all the stuff that is supposed to be at the top of the format, but you have to make it through those early stages first to get there. And sometimes you get caught off guard by just some, random rogue deck that has an answer for you.
Yep. Here I do a little flub. I shuffled after I put my pitch cards on bottom instead of shuffling and then putting my pitch cards on bottom. So we just kind of judge fixed it, which is I took out my pitch cards and then
Shuffled again.
Shuffled and then put them on bottom, which I think in something like this is fair. I don't know what the fix is. I know this is more of like a magic fix maybe than a flesh and blood fix, but I don't know what the
It's also something that probably wouldn't occur in a real game.
Yeah.
You wouldn't accidentally click your cards into your deck.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, no. I mean, I've seen it happen where people shuffle their deck with a known card, like card that's not supposed to be there. So I know here oh yeah, this guy, he was talking about, he's like, do I make you like block because I use this for 3 just to make you get a card out of hand, which I think is correct. I think he definitely wants to get cards out of my hand. So I think it's correct to attack for 3 and then just keep building up an advantage from there.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of already wrote you off from the very beginning of this recording, so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we could do. Maybe we can get
Yeah.
like Crystal's thoughts on the chain versus
Huh?
on the chain.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. I just thought it'd be funny to call you out one time just to see.
Give us your thoughts on his block with this disable.
Don't know anything.
What do you think of those playmats? If you're looking at both those playmats,
That's true.
I
You
can't
see-
really see the other one that well.
Yeah.
The
It's because he's got a lot. It's because he's got 3 plasma purifiers.
yeah, it's because his playmat is covered with cards. Looks like he's just playing a completely different game over there.
As you can see, he's a.
Damn.
Oh yeah, true. He's a character loyalist running his dash mat with his dash deck.
Yeah. I do want to point out, Xander, that I did pitch correctly this time. Pitch the Terrace Under to the Terrace Under and
Yeah.
then the ice card for the Warping Whale.
That is fantastic.
Dang.
Well played.
Unfortunately, it still doesn't get through because this thing can block for 2.
Well played.
That was
Oh yeah, I love Ironhide.
that was such a. I didn't even notice that he was playing that until
Right
right
now.
now.
I had Ironhide boots in the Oldhim list that I was testing, and I was like, man, these are pretty cool. I like. You just have that extra mana floating and turn it into a 2-block on my boots. It's pretty cool. And it's a card that synergizes well with Forge for War again, since you can technically block with it, and as long as you don't spend the mana, it doesn't break.
I finally get to have, after like, I don't know, 10 straight turns of like blocking and like not doing anything that crazy. I get to do like a Terrace Under turn into like this Rouse the Ancients turn, which was the idea when I started playing. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna like do some.
Oh, you have
really good
exactly
attacks.
13 in hand. Nice.
Yeah, you see me counting a couple times. You know, adding's harder for some of us.
Well, what do you think your chances were in this matchup had you been on your Bay Prism?
I still think I'm losing against Dash with Prism, so not by as
Really?
much as I'm losing here.
Even if you know it's dash.
I think it's even worse if I know it's Dash because they get to play more cards that pop Phantasm, which is like against. They're so good at popping your auras, because and they can put more of those cards in as well to like go again and get extra action points.
Oh yeah, they can try to play off a high octane a little bit harder to generate more action points and probably
and they-
play time skip or time snap potion, stuff like that. Just
Yeah, and they have the Achilles booster.
I think probably if Dash is like just completely teched out for Prism, it probably is pretty hard for Prism because I'm trying to think of what you could do as Prism to do better into Dash. I think you probably would just be better off going the derp Herald spam build against Dash in that scenario.
Yeah, but as I said, in which case, I mean, it's not like they know what you're going to play ahead of time, but they can put in 6 to 9 pop Phantasm cards into their deck easily. So that's not something I would want to test. It's something I would feel if it's somewhere around as behind as I am now, you know.
Which is so interesting because Xander played against a Prism, and against Prism traditionally, I should say, I guess, it's not very good for Bravo.
Yeah.
At least the Prism list that we've seen be successful, the aura plan is really annoying for Bravo to deal with since he usually does the one big swing, can't really deal with multiple auras on the board. But like we said, in this format where you have knowledge of what you're going against and you could just tech super hard for Prism, all of a sudden the matchup is completely different when you're 100% certain that you're playing against Prism and you can build your deck for Prism.
Yeah, I think that Prism is probably the deck that would um
Be
basically
hindered
get
the most.
it's the most penalized deck for playing this particular format.
Yeah, if you have knowledge that that's what you're facing, it seems to get punished probably the hardest.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're getting to the close, at least close to the part where I actually take lethal damage. Any closing thoughts or things we might have learned from this?
I can't say there was a whole much to absorb. I still have my thoughts that the way you deal with Dash as a Guardian is to hopefully mill or discard their items before they can play them.
Yeah.
But as far as this match goes, I don't think there's anything reviewing and watching with hindsight that could have led to a victory in your favor.
Yeah. Here's a question: would you have played Crown of Seeds?
Oh my goodness.
You know,
most certainly, yes. I would have played Crown of Seeds against this.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely, like I said earlier, I would have just tried to put in Forge for War, Remembrances for the Forge for Wars, and tried to tank it out. I think, unlike Bravo, the Oldhim with Crown of Seeds stands a better chance at possibly being able to fatigue out a dash in the event that they don't just open up Purifier into Purifier. I think you still would have had a lot of work to do, and it probably would have still been odds heavily against you in this scenario had your deck been teched for it, but because that's just such a strong opener. But
yeah,
I think that's probably the route I would have taken, because outside of the lucky righteous cleansing, I don't think you can. There's any other way to deal with them.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I don't think. I think I needed to be more aggressive. I don't know what helmet I could have ran to be more aggressive, but that's what I was thinking. And
I see.
And so Crown does still have like some utility on the attack side, so I don't think it's like completely devoid of utility. It does suck that I never used the Mage Master boots though. Like I had the option to try to tome earlier, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's harder for you to be, or I feel like it might be a little bit harder for Oldhim to be aggressively leaning than it is for Bravo. Just off the card pool, which is weird to say because technically Bravo or Oldhim has the larger card pool, having all the access to everything Bravo does plus Ice and Earth cards. But I think the specializations definitely make a big difference. I think Crippling Crush is just such an insane card, and helping Bravo steal momentum and the hero power itself, just having the dominate on a stick, really helps you push through damage.
Yeah, that would have helped here. I think Bravo does stand. I think Bravo stands a better chance against Dash than Oldhim does, but
I think if you're gonna be aggressive, then I would go with Bravo, and if you're gonna try to outlive them, I would go with Oldhim. I think just because of Crown of Seeds.
I think if you're trying to outlive him, I think Dash is just like unlivable because of the way they attack.
Yep.
Because he's not actually wasting cards here. He's just glitching them.
Yeah.
Here, I think he forgot to.
Does that mean? Oh, sorry.
I think he forgot to give go again, and I just let him take it back because I already knew I was dead.
Yeah, just why prolong it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that mean? Do you think it's? Do you guys think it's actually impossible to fatigue a Dash?
You have to not have the items, and you have to make him block. That's the way to fatigue a defensive shell that doesn't have to use resources, in my opinion. But oh, and then here's the end. So, well, I guess we'll catch everybody on the next game. Oh wait, am I not dead? Oh no, the shield kept me alive.
Yeah, I do recall this.
Yeah.
I was really making him work for it, despite him knowing that the writing is on the wall. He's.
I could just take it, but it's.
I do think you do take it right now. I do believe you don't even block here, and you just take the damage.
You think the mental fortitude is worth saving?
I do think that's exactly what you do here. I think he attacks, and you.
Yeah, I think you see because you had the double reds in hand. I remember.
The commentator hears you say, "I'm definitely dead this turn," and then he attacks, and you take it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw the double reds and was like, well, he charged everything. I think I literally couldn't block 3, so I just took the first one, is what happened.
Yeah.
But if I were in an actual game, I would have made him go through all 3. Just so you know.
Got it.
All right, well, this is the first game of many. We got the whole league to go through, and we're excited about it. I'm sure that hopefully the quality just goes up from here. But we'll see you in game 2.
Adios.